So I'm going to start with a couple of versions that I've done of poems by Yanis Ritsos. These are tiny. They're so small that if you gasp in admiration, you'll miss the next one. And they're three-liners, tri-stitch poems. And the first goes like this. They have no titles. The sun finally reaches the backroom window. Somebody shouts outside in the street. These things are different to the loveless. And the second is, you passed me a glass of water into which you had secretly dipped your finger. That's Ritsos. This book starts with an untitled poem, which is italicized, which I suppose means that it's a taste of what's coming. The bitch supreme in spangles and tulle, old bloody bones, the beggar king and Sheila Nagig, all out on the town. They're up for happy hour, which lasts from dusk to dawn. Night in the city of locks casts a shadow across the moon. Lights come on in the bounty house and the palace of pawn. There's no way of telling blind from sighted, diehard from drone. The serial offenders square up to the gladsome insane. The milksop twins, it's come to this, face each other down. The lipless child in the corner weeps tears of stone. In the tenement cul-de-sacs, the chances cut and run. Something fronts in the dark that could be shadow or stain. There's a smell of scorch in the air, and the time to be gone has gone. There are some poems in the book that are not exactly sequences, but they do, as it were, belong to each other. Or they're not part of sequences, but they belong to each other. There are some poems about a garden, which is not a garden any of us would care to enter, I think. And they started to come when I had my disgracefully untidy, overgrown, briar-tangled garden sort of slightly tarted up. And when it was a wilderness, nothing. When it was civilized and had a pond and a potager, suddenly, poems like this. And this is called The Garden in Fading Light. Here is your key. It was specially cut. If the door to the garden blows shut as you enter, at least you'll have your own key, though the way out is not really the same. That smell is just what you take it to be, loose strife and dogwood and rot. Though be sure that whatever you cut will keep, whatever you lost will somehow come to light, which is, of course, the last thing you want. There are those who come here to be beside themselves, others with eyes tight shut. You might prefer not to think of that, and you might prefer to steer clear of the hut at the garden's end, though more seem drawn to it, the litter, the rat run under the floor, the bat in the rafters. Perhaps they forget that night falls more readily in gardens, and forget the face in the water butt, the addled egg in the nest, and wander across that bare plot 6x4 without feeling a thing. Call them ill-favored, ill-met. If you're here to settle a debt, as you seem to be, You might want to call it quits, might think it best to cut and run. What with the shadow play in trees, the note of panic evening brings to birdsong. You'll find a way out soon enough. Each wrong turn will set you straight, and though you recognize nothing at all, and the light is fading fast, the door will seem right enough, and the key will fit, no doubt, as you open up, as you step across to that troubling cut of moonshine in the street.